This is Sara. Hey, and I'm Nevin from CMD, but this is Sara. She used to work she actually did children's ministry worship at one of the largest churches in America for 6 years.
I got paid to do that.
She got paid to do that. That was her full-time job. So I wanted to talk to you about children's ministry worship, not Skyline Jelly, of course. Okay, so you were there, and I just want to kind of get some kind of the high points from you. Like,
Sure.
How did you pick songs for worship?
How did I pick songs? Well, I had a very large library of songs, and I would sift through those every year. Like, as new ones came out, I would, retire old ones. But,
right.
I'd look through my list every week. I would focus on the lesson first and see if there was a theme in the lesson. If it was on faith or trust, I would, pick songs that talked about faith or trust or something that would, emphasize.
Kind of drive home the point.
It would drive home the point. Yeah, exactly. And so, we only had 40 minutes in our worship services. The other 20 minutes were dedicated to small group time. So I had 40 minutes. Like, that's not a lot of time. So I very, very action-packed, had to be very precise and thought through points in our service. So I'd kick it off with something, high energy. Because you don't want to bring it down.
Get everybody pumped up, excited.
So we would have, pumped up songs and jumping around songs. And then we would bring it down, a little bit slower before the lesson time if we had communion. Those kinds of songs that were slow and worshipful, but yeah, I would pick songs around our theme of our lesson. Okay.
So basically what you're saying is you don't just throw songs in there. No. You actually are thinking through what you're doing. And then and when we're talking about worship songs, we're talking about you actually use videos, worship videos that had already been edited together, like the music and the video with the words on it.
We had to get special licenses for that, just so you know. You can't just do that without copyright approval, just so you know.
Because you made your own.
We did. We would pick our songs, out of CDs and different things, and then we would sync them up to the lyrics so that it was basically karaoke worship is what I called it. We would just sing along with the artist on the video, and the lyrics would pop up as they would come along. We didn't have the luxury of doing a live band. We would do it at special events, but we just had so many services in different campuses that would use these videos. We just couldn't do live band at every service. So, so these videos were fabulous. Yeah. It was great.
Yeah. Easy. And it lets you focus on what you're doing, and then you just hit play. And no PowerPoint slides to mess with because
they looked like PowerPoint, but you just hit a button and it would just roll through the whole thing. It was
great.
It's
good to go. And let's see. Okay, one of the things that made Sara so awesome at her job was not only was she a great worship leader herself, but really she focused on getting great worship leader, volunteers, and having a team of volunteers that she really led. She was a great leader. And how did you pick your worship leaders, and what did you tell them, and how often do you meet with them, and how did all that work? If you're trying to put that together.
A lot of times I would handpick them. I would see adults or leaders in worship that were high energy, or they were very involved in worship. And so I'd approach them myself and say, have you ever thought about worship leading on stage? Just people who are really good. People who are really good at just identifying with the kids and being good examples. That's who I wanted on stage. A lot of times people would come to me and say, I'm interested in this. And so how I would sift through that, being a good singer does help because you do have a microphone, but it wasn't essential for me because you can always mute their mic or whatever. I'm just saying. They would mute their own mic because they knew they couldn't sing very well. Yeah. But what I looked for was basically their heart. They had to have a genuine heart and love for the Lord, and their relationship with God had to be just real strong because they were the examples on stage. Like, these people were the pastors to the kids. I can only be in so many services at one time, and we would have simultaneous worship services, so volunteers were essential in our ministry. And so I really poured into my volunteers as much as I could. I would meet with them probably at least once a month, and so, I just made sure to connect with them on a weekly basis, actually, through emails or phone calls to make sure that they knew what they were doing and they, felt encouraged. And yeah.
I love that it's not about the voice,
It's not about the voice.
That it's about the heart. That's
Anybody can worship the Lord.
That's right. And I'm thinking of, she had a worship volunteer, and his name was, I think, Jim Mativier. And this guy was like a bigwig at Yum Brands, a big corporate guy, really well-to-do, but he rocked.
He was a family man.
Leading worship.
He and his wife led together on stage. They were, and they had 3 kids of their own, so they knew, they were very passionate about children's ministry, and they, led it in their home. They led it with, the kids on every weekend, 9 o'clock. They were my powerhouse worship volunteers, and they did a fantastic job. They had genuine relationships with the Lord, and that showed in how they, led in worship. So
right. Very cool stuff. I've got some other questions here. Let me see. I will let you off the hook easy, maybe. I don't know. How much impact can a worship leader have on a child?
I think a lot. I remember the people who, led me when I was a kid, and I still have relationships with them today.
Right.
Because they, poured in so much time and effort with me every week, and those were the faces that I remember teaching me about Jesus, besides my parents. But having somebody outside of your family, outside of your parents, to tell you who Jesus is and how much he loves you and how to worship the Lord, you just need that extra, you need those people in your community to teach you things like that other than your parents, to kind of back up what your parents are saying. So I think they can have a huge impact on a child. Huge.
Absolutely. Here's a random question. How many people should you have on stage, like in front, leading worship? Should it be one person, or should it be like
you never
3 or 5, or what's the...
It just depends on how big your stage is too.
Okay.
You always want to have more than one person, because it becomes a talking head after a while. I hated those weekends where I'm like, I'm all by myself. So it's always better to have at least 2 to 3 to 4. We would probably never have any more than 4 on stage at a time. So we would have, junior leaders or like our teen leaders that would help out. And then we'd have our adults as well. And a good mixture of guys and gals if you can. We had a ton of dads in our ministry, and that was, I know
cool.
we are blessed that way, but if you can get some dads up there to rock it out, it'd be awesome.
Yeah.
So.
Anything other? Did you learn anything else, or was there anything like tips or tricks that you would give to somebody out there who's maybe in a smaller church, who's trying to lead worship? Any kind of advice, or to help them get organized or do things the right way?
Sure. Just keep looking for the freshest music. Freshest? I don't know if that's a word.
Fresh.
Newest. I mean, there's a ton of artists out there like Uncle Charlie and Yancey and Go Fish, and I can't even begin to count how many artists there are out there that are putting out fantastic children's music. And so keep an eye out for all those new products that come out, CDs, DVDs, or whatever. A lot of these prepackaged things come, and it's just stuff, it in and your worship's done. You don't even have to create those videos.
So there's people that are they're producing this
exactly.
stuff.
So keep looking for those things.
Excuse me.
Oh, you're fine. Have a York peppermint patty. That might
Yeah.
help you. But stay fresh on that stuff. Keep your heart genuine in worship, and make sure you're discipling and leading other people with that same passion.
Right.
So you want to train up leaders who you don't want to do it all yourself. If you do it all yourself, you're going to burn out. So make sure you have powerful leaders and genuine leaders in your ministry teaching those kids.
So get good resources that are out there, and then focus on
your leaders.
Your leaders.
Because it will hurt your ministry if you have a bad leader up there.
Right.
If you're not, but you have to keep a thumbprint on, or a grasp on who's in your ministry leading those kids.
Right. And you have so here's an awkward question, since we're on the topic.
Sure.
What do you do when you have a bad leader? Like you've got somebody up there and you're like, it's not working.
You have to have a conversation with them. And I've learned this the hard way of, skirting around it for years almost. You have to have those conversations as soon as you see the issue starting. If you don't have those they may feel awkward because they're confrontational. Right. And you telling somebody, hey, you're not cutting it. You have to have ways to move them in a direction. You have to kind of have a plan. You can't just say one day, all right, you're done. You didn't do anything. You're not doing the right thing. So you have to walk them through that process. You can't just can them. Your job as a staff person or as a leader is to lead those people to either be better or to help them find another way that they can serve. Okay. So you just have to be honest with them and say, this is where it's at.
So you would say just don't make it dramatic, or don't make it a big deal and talk about it and worry about it and have anxiety. Just get it out in the open.
Exactly. Pray about your situation, and then pray about the conversation. Have other people pray about it. Take somebody with you if you feel like it's going to be, very confrontational or whatever. But don't let it get to that point. Have conversations on a regular basis with people. When you invite them into your ministry, say, we're gonna keep checking in on you. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna give you feedback, and I need you to be open to that feedback, and working to get better as we go, because nobody's perfect when they first get up there. So you just have to coach them. You have to remember you're the coach.
That's a coaching.
So,
yeah. So really, if there's a bad leader, maybe at the same time you need to look at yourself and say, am I coaching or leading them the right way? Mm-hmm. And that might help you in your leadership.
Because you're never going to be all that So you need to
Right.
figure it out yourself. It's going to help you grow immensely in your ministry too. So.
Right. Okay. Well, real quick, your top 5 favorite worship songs of all time.
Oh.
I know How Great Thou Art has got to be up there for you.
It is actually.
Is it?
Oh yeah, man. It's a good one. You know.
I Come to the Garden Alone, maybe. No, you like cool stuff.
I do like.
What's your favorite worship song?
I love Oh Happy Day. That is one of my
Great
favorite
song.
all time. And I know it's been out for a while, but
Yeah.
I love that one. Gosh, there's so many new ones out there.
Who sang Oh Happy Day like
To
originally?
begin with?
Yeah, I don't even know.
I don't even
Uncle Charlie sings it though.
He does.
Yeah.
A lot of people sing it. They
Yeah.
have a lot of great versions out there too. My Savior, My God is a good one. I think Yancey has a version of that on one of her CDs.
Okay.
I can't even tell you top 5. To be honest,
You just
with
like them all.
I do. I
You
like them all. There's a lot of fun ones out there.
I remember David Crowder. We did like David Crowder worship songs.
We loved it. We did a lot of
Those
Chris
are
Tomlin
awesome.
too.
Yeah, Chris
How
Tomlin.
Great Is Our God is neat for kids to
Yeah.
still sing to this day. So, we had so many fun ones, didn't
Good
we?
stuff, yeah.
Lean on Me is out there. That's a good one to sing.
Anyway.
Undignified.
Undignified. I'm coughing now, so
I know. Time to wrap it up.
I gotta eat some peppermint patties. So that's
So
it.
addicted.
That's it. Yeah, help me. All right. Thank you, Sarah, for your time.
Sure.
You awesome rock star.
Something like that.
All right.